It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
This next one is from Noah. Noah says, how long do I need to plan on living in a house? I'm going to put 20% down to make it worthwhile over renting an apartment. I'm graduating college next year, and I'm trying to decide which will be a better choice. I'm going to start this one because this one is near and dear to my heart. I operated on the assumption when I graduated school, I needed to buy a house as quickly as possible because I'd always heard that rent was just throwing your money away, throwing your money away, throwing your money away. Where you could buy a house, you could start building equity. What I did not recognize was how permanent real estate purchases are in the short term. What I perceived as throwing away money on rent was actually me paying insurance for flexibility. If you are like me, when I graduated from college, I was figuring out career stuff. I was not married. I did not have any kids. There was a lot of life that was going to change in my first few years outside of college. The house that I bought initially, my future wife was not in the picture, so she didn't have any insight in there. I wasn't thinking about having a family in there. I didn't know if it was going to be convenient to where my ultimate place of work was going to be. There were so many things that changed and could change. Making such a permanent decision in such a short term was pretty aggressive. So my thought is, I don't ever want you to make a real estate purchase unless you feel very, very confident that your circumstances are going to stay static for the next 5 to 7 years. You know you're going to be there for 5 to 7 years. So that way, if you buy your house in 2007 and 2008 happens, you have enough time to let it recover, to let it come back. Because houses are not liquid assets. Sometimes it's really, really hard to unload them. And if you want to take another job, move across the country, fall in love, get married into the white picket fence, and you already have a house, it might not be as easy to do.
They call it when you buy a house, you're planting roots in the community. I think sometimes, especially when you're younger and there's a lot of life going on and all the things you described, it's better to be a potted plant.
Potted plant, I love it.
You want to be a potted plant because you can then pick up the potted plant, move them to the next place.
Yep.
Because I see all over Twitter and all over social media where people talk about how they bought a house because they felt like that's what they needed to do to check the box on their journey through success. And then that once in a lifetime opportunity opened up in a different city. But yet they had planted roots at the wrong time, at the wrong place. So I think, Bo, you just nailed it. If you all real estate transactions need to be long-term in nature, because this is definitely a big-time investment. It's not something that needs to be speculated. Anything that is short-term that you think you're going to make money off of, that it's speculating, that's not investing. So that's why go 5 to 7 years. You're going to need that much time just to recoup the cost because real estate transactions are not cheap from all the taxes, all the fees, all the other things, as well as all that volatility you said that might happen. So I wouldn't, if somebody's in college, I think it's very noble. And look, both of you and I tripped and failed on this. I bought my first house when I was 24. I think you were
21.
I look back and I kind of cringe a little bit on that purchase because I didn't do well on that purchase financially. I felt like it was rushed because I was trying to make it through that successful person's perceived checklist I had in my head. So I would tell this person, now look, leverage debt like real estate can be very powerful, very good. There's going to be a lot of people that probably will post comments saying, hey, my first house when I bought when I was 17, 15 and a half years old, living in the parents' basement has made me $2 million because you see those type of comments. So there might be a one-off out there, but the reality is you need to value your premium of flexibility. So, because the biggest thing you're trying to do in your 20s is how do I crank up the machine of the enterprise of you to be as successful as possible? And that maybe that's in that community, and that's great if you buy the house, but maybe the enterprise of you needs to be moved somewhere else, and you need that added flexibility, and it's worth paying the premium of rent.
Love it.